Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're opening up a source narrative that, honestly, it sounds like the plot of some high-stakes drama.
It really does.
But it's actually a blueprint for how to solve one of the most common problems people face. I mean, just profound inconsistency.
Exactly. We're diving into the story of a guy named Marcus. He's a 28-year-old data analyst living in Brooklyn. And, on the surface, everything looks fine.
Right, successful.
Totally. But internally, he was suffering from what the material calls a complete lack of personal scaffolding. He just couldn't do anything on time.
And our mission here isn't just to tell you his story. It's to pull out the exact mechanics, the actual steps he used to build discipline, basically from scratch. We're starting at the moment his failure to manage one tiny habit led to a crisis that nearly shattered his entire world.
And Marcus was trapped in that classic loop, wasn't he? I mean, the procrastination cycle.
Oh, yeah.
Setting the 7 a.m. alarm, with the best intentions, only to actually wake up at 10 a.m.
Which means you're late for work, your boss is mad, you miss deadlines, and then you have that same empty promise every single night.
Tomorrow I'll fix everything.
Exactly. And that cycle is just so emotionally exhausting. Eventually, the consequences of those small failures, they stop being about your job. They spill over.
They always do. They spill into the things that actually matter.
Which is where this story really begins.
Yeah, that spillover point.
Yeah.
It arrived when his father, Robert, who was a retired postal worker, got sick.
And Marcus was just so tangled up in his own chaos, he couldn't even see the danger signal right there in front of him.
He was completely blind to it.
So the moment of reckoning, it all came down to a 9 a.m. doctor's appointment. Robert needed Marcus to take him.
And Marcus gave that casual, yeah, Dad, I'll take you, that kind of dismissive promise.
And then he just failed. Slept right through the alarm. Consumed by his own self-made chaos.
Woke up at 11 a.m., and his phone is just blowing up. 15 missed calls.
Not from his dad, though.
No, all from neighbors. So when he rushes home, the scene is it's devastating. Robert is unconscious on the floor.
And that detail about the neighbors, that's so important. It wasn't just panic, it was judgment.
Oh, absolutely. It was public failure. Why weren't you here? Weren't you answering your phone?
His private lack of discipline had become a very public crisis.
And then at the hospital, the doctor delivers this line that is just. It's the ultimate indictment of inconsistency. After assessing Robert, who had a mild heart attack, the doctor says, almost casually, that if Marcus had brought him in 2 to 3 hours earlier, it wouldn't have been this serious.
Wow. I mean, that is the highest possible price tag you can put on poor time management. It's not a bad performance review.
No.
It's a near-death experience that you can trace directly back to your failure to just wake up on time.
And the realization that followed for Marcus sitting in silence outside the ICU, it wasn't about work anymore. It was existential.
How did I fall this far?
I almost lost out. I can't even control my own life. That feeling of being completely hollowed out. That was the foundation he needed.
Yeah, paradoxically. You can't build a new house until you realize the old one is completely uninhabitable.
Exactly.
So Marcus is at his absolute lowest point outside the ICU. And the narrative introduces this completely unexpected source of wisdom.
An elderly janitor.
Right, just mopping the floor. And he delivers this perfect antidote to the grand overhaul mentality that we all fall for.
What did he say?
The wisdom was so stark, he said, "Son, changing your life doesn't require big decisions. It requires changing small habits." And then he says, "Discipline is the backbone of life. When it breaks, a person becomes hollow."
That's a profound shift in thinking. It moves the goal away from becoming a perfect person.
Right.
And toward just fixing the structural weakness, fixing the backbone. So Marcus decides to change, but he doesn't start with, a 3-hour gym session.
No big gestures. His single, immediate, and frankly painful action.
The 5:30 a.m. alarm. The 5:30 a.m. alarm. But the real effort wasn't just setting it. It was the physical agony of actually getting up when every part of his body was screaming for more sleep.
And this is where we see the mental strategy, right? The trick he used to overcome that initial resistance.
Yeah, he didn't commit to a year of 5.3 starts. I mean, to a procrastinator, that sounds impossible.
Right.
Instead, his mantra was just today. Just today. Tomorrow's a problem for tomorrow.
That's the key. It's a psychological trick to get around that future self procrastination.
Yeah.
You make the commitment so small, your brain can't argue with it.
Exactly.
And what he did with that newfound time is fascinating. He didn't jump into emails or work.
No, the sources say he sat by the window for 10 minutes with a coffee, just feeling peace.
Which seems counterintuitive. Why would the sources focus on peace as the first reward, not, better job performance?
That's the brilliance of it. Achievement, like a promotion, that's a byproduct. It comes later. Peace is the internal, immediate incentive that locks the habit in.
Okay, so you need an immediate reward.
You have to. When you force yourself through pain like waking up early, you need tangible internal reward that doesn't depend on anyone else. 10 minutes of silence. That's a reward for the commitment itself, not the results. It's what makes the habit stick.
So the first reward of discipline isn't success. It's the quiet knowledge that you have control over yourself.
Wow. And that small internal win immediately translated externally. He gets to work on time, shocks his boss.
And that little bit of external validation, that becomes the next layer of fuel.
Right. But once that novelty wears off, he needed something more. He realized discipline requires tracking.
Which led him to his main tool of accountability.
A journal.
And it wasn't just a diary, right? It was this self-administered reality check. It was based on 3 very specific questions every single night.
Let's unpack those. What did I do today? What did I miss? What will I do tomorrow? That structure is so effective.
Why, though? What makes it work?
Because it just prevents delusion. What did I do? Forces him to confront actual performance, not what he intended to do.
Right.
What did I miss? Quantifies the cost of failure. And the third one, what will I do tomorrow? Connects the accountability of today directly to the promise of tomorrow. There's no gap for self-deception to creep in.
It's an immediate self-administered performance review.
Exactly. And that journal let him expand from just waking up early. He started shoring up other small routines.
Like eating on time, drinking water.
And crucially, setting a fixed time for his dad's medication. These small things became the mortar holding that backbone together.
But consistency is never a straight line.
Okay.
And this is probably the most relatable part of the entire story.
Oh, for sure. On day 15, he goes to an all-night birthday party.
This is the alarm.
Wakes up late again. He completely fell off the wagon.
And he felt that crushing shame, that feeling of being right back at square one. He confesses to his father, just devastated.
Dad, I'm back to the same. I can't change.
And this brings us to the second piece of essential wisdom in this story. And it's delivered by the person who had suffered the most from Marcus's failures.
Yes. Robert's response is something I think all of us need to internalize. He says, "Son, falling is part of discipline. Real discipline is getting back up."
We really need to analyze that. Why is that phrase so powerful?
Because it completely reframes what failure is. If you define discipline as never falling, then one slip-up confirms you're a failure.
Right, and that leads to the what the hell effect. Since I already messed up, I might as well give up for the day. Or the week.
Exactly. But if discipline is defined as the speed and certainty with which you restart, then falling is just. It's a data point. It's an expected part of the practice. It's not a moral failing.
It eliminates the shame spiral.
Totally. He didn't waste a week hating himself. He just accepted it and restarted the 5:30 alarm the very next morning. That is the real difference.
So let's fast forward a month after that setback. The sources detail a completely new normal.
He's waking up before his alarm now. His reports at work are meticulous. And yeah, his boss is talking about a big promotion.
But again, the professional success, that was just a side effect. The biggest payoff was healing that primary relationship.
Right. Robert's health was improving because Marcus was absolutely meticulous with the care schedule. Medication, food, checkups, everything on time.
His discipline had stabilized 2 lives, not just one.
And then the ultimate test arrives. The story gives us one final crisis to prove that this new backbone is actually strong.
A massive storm hits Brooklyn. Power goes out everywhere.
And Robert suddenly has chest pain again. It's a mirror of the first catastrophe.
But the difference in Marcus's reaction tells the whole story. The first time, he was chaotic, unprepared.
This time, no panic. Why? Because his habits had already dictated his response.
He was prepared.
Exactly. He had an emergency bag ready,
Yep.
Hospital number, medication list, ambulance details, all stuff he had compiled during those evening journal sessions. They reached the hospital in 15 minutes.
That detail really highlights what preparation is. It's just discipline applied in advance to an uncertain future.
And the final validation from the story is chilling. The doctor's words were serious but definitive. You came at exactly the right time if you had been 10 minutes later.
You saved his life.
You saved his life. All those tiny, consistent habits, built over painful weeks, they translated into a life-saving ability when everything else was failing.
So the conclusion for him wasn't just about the promotion.
No. It was that discipline bought him his father's health. It bought him their quiet morning coffee together.
So if we synthesize this entire journey for you, the learner, the key takeaway is that transformation doesn't require some dramatic overnight conversion.
No, and it doesn't require a huge lump sum effort either. The transformation required accepting two core ideas. First, discipline is built by picking one small habit.
And repeating that habit every single day.
Right, and prioritizing that internal peace over immediate external results. And second, that falling is part of the process. Self-compassion plus immediate correction is the secret.
We started this deep dive talking about Marcus, who began with just 10 minutes of quiet early morning peace.
If you're struggling with inconsistency, you don't need to fix everything at once.
No.
What is your one foundational habit? The one you can commit to for just today? Maybe it's planning your top 3 tasks before you check your email. Maybe it's just standing up and stretching every hour.
I mean, the sources here show that discipline isn't just about achieving goals. It's about creating an emergency kit for life. Marcus's habits built a defense mechanism that protected what mattered most when chaos arrived.
And that raises a final, powerful, provocative thought for you to consider. Marcus's initial lack of consistency almost cost him a life. When you look at your own areas of inconsistency right now, financially, with your health, in your relationships, what unforeseen catastrophe might your lack of discipline be preparing you for? Building that backbone isn't just about success, it's about survival. And that's the question worth mulling over.